Okay, hello, and thank you for all your patience and understanding and uh, taking the time to watch my stream of consciousness videos that happen at all hours of the day or night. There's no schedule. These things just happen if I wake up. I mean, when I wake up, and there's never any set topic. Like there's no script, and it's just like I said, stream of consciousness, because it's like whatever I feel like doing, I just do it, and I think that imparts a great deal of genuine and authenticity to these productions. First thing you might say is, "Oh, Terry, hey, what's that? Hex Command Compendium on demand? What?" Okay, so what this is Terry saying to himself, even though the Hex Command Compendium is available on Amazon, and it's doing well, and it has had I don't know, maybe one or two sales. It's doing pretty good, and there's a lot in there. The Hex Command system is the number one goal of producing it after all these years, is to make it so that people get interested in the hobby and can actually play the games without, donating a kidney or something, or selling a kidney. The intention of all of our productions is a DIY. We always want to make things possible for you to make your own. Ergo, the bottom right-hand image of our current game table, and yes, I'm sorry, it may be a little disrespectful for the models to be piled up like that. I was cleaning stuff up, and that's how it happened. And so they're just kind of pushed to one side. Why? Because I was making that little fortress, which turns out to be too small. I mean, the walls are the good height, but it's only 6 by 6, square. And to be a proper fortress to encase, house, hold a facility of that magnitude, and I say that magnitude because in this scale, you don't often see a single building of that size. But it's a big facility, and therefore the walls, it was just a proof of concept. The little fortress walls are too small. It should be, first of all, a more attractive shape than just a square, and their length of the walls should be longer. You have to imagine you're on a planet, and the people have just settled the planet, or the people that are there have settled the planet, and they're doing mining operations, or it doesn't matter. But there's this big facility, and that's one of the things, like you would see in typical colonization programs throughout history, is they build a fort. And, well, they built a facility first, and then now they're putting walls around it. Why? Well, because there's danger from outside. And so they made these walls. And they have the technology to make walls, like concrete fabrication that's really fast. And of course the walls are strong, or otherwise it would be a waste of time. And there's no gun towers yet on this fort. There may be in the facility guns that will be able to fire outward from the facility, but that hasn't been designed yet. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the 2 camera views, and so on and so forth. Now, getting back to the compendium, what you're looking at there on the left is Terry's attempt, well, and successful, to make the book. That's actually a photo of the front label that goes on the book. And you might say, well, how big is this book? Well, it's not. It's really short. I'm small. It's very wee, as Simon Pegg would say. It's only a 6 by 8 booklet, which is to say A4 paper size. And why? Because this is what is available. That is a hardcover, that goes on a hardcover booklet that's become available, and I didn't know this until like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, that people can buy that are blank pages inside these booklets. And I thought, well, that's really interesting, but the blank pages not so much. I just want the hardcover. So I'm starting to buy these books, these booklets that are hardcover, and I'm cutting out the pages. The A4 pages that are inside there, I'm cutting them out and throwing them away. I don't need them. I mean, A4 paper individual sheets would be nice to have, but because they're manufactured the way they are, you can't reuse them. So once they're cut out, sorry, they have to go in the bin. But here's the thing. So that leaves the hardcover book itself. And then using the hardcover book and the document sliders that you can get for presentations and such, I'm hot gluing those into the book. And why am I doing this? So that you can change the pages of the book. Miraculous revelation. So you're potentially buying a book, but you can change the pages. You can add to it. And it's not a 3-ring binder. It's just a document slider, a plastic thing. Let me see if I can get one here. Well, here's a big package of them from Amazon. These are the typical plastic slider things you'd use for making a report, okay? Making a report. And you would open this up, right? You open it up and, well, you can't see it probably, but anyway, you open it up and you put the document in there and you give it, to the class, or they give it to the boardroom, whatever. This is it, but that's too big, so I'm cutting it off. Cutting it off and putting it in the book with hot glue. That's a lot of work. Not really. It's just that cutting the pages out is the hardest thing to do there. So once I got this all cut out, where's my book now? I don't have it. This is what it looks like. Okay? And then when you put your document in there, see, you can change it. You can pull this out and put another saddle-stitched booklet inside. So the book can change over time. And that's like an amazing revelation too. You maybe, okay, hypothetically, you pay like $10 for this. But this book is changeable and you can add to it over millennia. And what's good about this? It's small. Does that mean the text is really small? Well, we kind of fudged it a little bit. We made the text as good as we could get it and not too small to read. We tried to keep it big, bigly. We tried to keep it easier to read, but it doesn't matter anyway because it's just reference. Okay, once you understand how to play the game, you don't even need this. This is all just reference material. Like if you forget something, like how do we do that? Or what kind of weapon is that? What does that do? Then you just look at the book. But because the book is this size, and you can actually stuff quite a few number of pages in there, it's pretty cool to carry around. And of course, I've got several versions. This is just the compendium, meaning that this could be, it's called in demand because this could be a compilation of rules that you want at the time. So it could be horse and musket with Napoleonic. In other words, it could be hex command gunpowder with hex command gunpowder Napoleonics with hex command gunpowder American Revolution. So all 3 of the gunpowder modules, the main rules and then the 2 modules go in here, and it's fine because they're not that thick anyway. And they're held in fine, but they're saddle stitched. You understand? It's a full page, saddle stitched, in other words, stapled in the middle and folded. And that's what goes in here. And that's what goes in the little slider. So you can pull the whole thing out, or you can put individual pages in here if you want. That's the idea. So the other idea is that when you go to a convention, you might want to carry a book that lets you record things. And in that case, I've created this book called A Beginner's Guide to Miniature Wargaming. At least, well, not to the conventions per se, but this is kind of a introduction to wargaming with miniatures in general. And I did this after I had thought about making this one here, my Wargame Diary, which you could carry to a convention. This is what the idea was. You could carry this and you could make notes. And again, remember, because of the little slider thing that's in there, right? You can pull the pages out at any time. You could have a completely different thing inside this cover. And yeah, I mean, it's going to last for quite a while. I mean, many years. So why not have it, be modified? be modifiable, and that was the intention. And so that's what these little booklets are. And that Hex Command Compendium on Demand is the title or the cover page for that kind of a book. And that one there is, I believe, from Hex Command Nova. Hex Command Nova and Mechanized in a single rule book. For reference, again, for reference. Okay, so as we continue with our adventure here, I'm going to pull those. I will clean up those models and get them off of there. Pull all the models off the table and maybe do some arrangements of this game table. And then we're going to do another test of the game system itself, which is a non-roster system. And we'll polish off some of the stands. All those mechs you see on the piled up there don't have stands yet, but that's easy to do. And as a matter of fact, it just reminded me I need to print more of the little post holder thingies that go on the base of the mech stand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 mechs I can create. What that means is that on the back of the round base, the back of the round disc, is the post that is the ring holding roster system. And I know I said it was non-roster, but the truth of the matter is it's just simplified roster, which is to say you don't have this big sheet and you don't have an index card anymore. Now you're putting the markers, the casualties, the status of the mech are being put right on the model. So on the game table. So yes, it is a roster per se, but there's no pen and paper, and it's not a huge piece of paper or a huge thing. There are other issues or enhancements or features, if you will. One of them being these little markers that we put on the game table. This is an example of a 3D printed one that's just it's a holder, but it's for a hexagon shaped chip. Marker for the game table, and this happens to be an unknown infantry on one side, unknown infantry, and this is a unknown facility, and it's coming up on the sensors of the radar of a machine, a mech, and it's saying, hey, there's some kind of structure up there. We don't know what it is though. No more details are available, and it's just numbered. This one happens to be number 8, so that's all. So that's the way that works, and this is the holder that we just printed to hold all the chips kind of neatly, as opposed to making a box. This is just the posts themselves that will hold the chips in place. So that's pretty cool. That works as well. And again, thank God for 3D printing that we're able to do such things. So we'll come back and segment number 2. Thanks.